A custodian actually interrupted the shooter, and that likely saved more lives. Roxana, the superintendent tells me that unfortunately, lockdown drills have become a necessary part of life here at his schools.
Jamie, we know the shooter was not permitted to own guns. What else do authorities know about the shooter's background and the time between when he was first arrested and Tuesday's rampage?
Well, we do know that a short time ago, our sister station in North Carolina talked to the shooter's family, who said that he did have mental illness his entire life, that he seemed a little off, and that in recent days when he had been talking to his mother, that he indicated that things were closing in or coming to some type of end. On top of that, he had been feuding with his neighbor. We have not confirmed exactly what that feud was about between the neighbors, but we do know that less than a year ago in January, he stabbed his female neighbor in the stomach with a knife. He was out on bail, and he then had a restraining order that the neighbor had put in place. Now, according to that restraining order, he was not allowed to own any guns. He actually did go and turn in a firearm and said that he didn't have any other weapons. But as we know now, he was able to get his hands on some guns and go on this shooting rampage here in this small town.
And Jamie, we're learning more information about the sequence of events that occurred on Tuesday. What else can you tell us about how Neal was kept out of the elementary school and how police ended up stopping him?
Yeah, it was fascinating to listen to the superintendent, who said that for years they've been doing lockdown drills here at the elementary school, as well as all the other elementary schools in this area. It specifically started after Columbine and then, of course, ramped up and became part of reality, he said, here after the Sandy Hook shooting. They had practiced it many, many times. Other schools have had to go on lockdown within his district. He didn't know how many times those lockdowns had been put in place, but he said that this one worked perfectly. It sounds like a secretary heard the gunshots. She immediately went in. Those gunshots she heard about a quarter of a mile away from the school here. She then goes inside and starts on the announcement saying, "Everybody locked down, in place." So the kids are in some of the quad area here, some of the play area. They get pulled inside. Kids that are being dropped off by parents also pulled inside. We also learned that some of the parents had to be pulled inside. That's how immediate this lockdown was. Less than 15 seconds the school had to get everyone inside and in place before the gunman arrived and started shooting. Now, it sounds like a custodian, we learned today, too, also distracted the shooter at one point in time. He crashed his vehicle through a gate, and before he came up and started shooting, a custodian made eye contact with him, and that likely distracted him for just enough time to get those classrooms in lockdown. And we also learned today that the students, when they go into lockdown, hide underneath their desks. Roxana.
Wow, I can't imagine what it would have been like as a student in those classrooms. Jamie, you also mentioned that law enforcement had a history with the gunman. Are you hearing any criticism about why they didn't act against him sooner to prevent the shootings in the first place?
Well, many people are wondering, and I did ask this question today, Roxana. This is somebody that was not supposed to own a gun, but his neighbors continued to call police saying that they heard gunshots from his home. What I was told is that they can't actually have someone answer the door, so they did actually go to the door and knock when they got reports of gunshots. But as police arrived, they didn't hear the gunshots anymore. When they knock on the door, the suspect never came to the door to tell them what he had been doing. And so they had set up surveillance to see if they could figure out if he was shooting a firearm or had a weapon, but they were never able to catch him. So there is some questioning as to how that happened. I also asked the district attorney today if this was a ticking time bomb, because this guy was out on bail and he had a known history with them of being violent with his neighbors. He said, "I have an opinion on that, but I'm not willing to share it right now." He did indicate, though, that a number of these types of cases, especially domestic cases, in his opinion, take months too long to actually go to trial.
Jamie Yuccas, thanks so much.